all of you hopefully have a big idea, and everything really does start with that vision and that strategy and that concept and chip on your shoulder that you can do something better than everybody else.
Mr. Leonsis reminded us of a famous quote from Thomas Edison: "Vision without execution is hallucination." So we created a plan. In January 2013, the Ballston bid launched a contest, the Ballston LaunchPad Challenge, which brought together entrepreneurs and creative minds to find and help the next big idea become a reality.
The goal is to shine a big bright light on undiscovered genius right here in Ballston.
A place to connect. Create. Imagine. Collaborate. Discover. Compete. Coach. Network. And the opportunity to make big things happen.
I'd like to conclude with a congratulatory message to all 10 finalists. I read all of the précis, and I'm actually very, very impressed, and I'm very excited to be able to dig down, read the plans, meet all of you, and get to know all of you. And maybe there's even more than one great winner in that group.
Hello everyone, my name is Korm Shakir. Some of you know me as a founder of iGrabber Autos. Since the inception of our company, we have now rebranded and are now known as carsquare.com.
Impact Hub is an online marketplace that makes it easy to send work to socially responsible outsourcing firms.
You or someone you know probably has student debt. Maybe Aunt Judy, maybe your grandfather had student debt. My name is Fabio, this is Fungication, and we are tackling this trillion-dollar problem 1 gig at a time.
Hello, I am Tiffany Jose Brown, founder of Build Data Analytics and CT BIM. Build Data Analytics is a business intelligence company for the commercial construction industry.
The businesses that do more good and give more back are more successful and more profitable in the long run. As it stands, we are the only platform capable of transforming that promise into actionable campaigns and making donations more valuable than paid advertising.
We came up with Meshwork to help you build, maintain, and leverage your professional network.
Hi, I'm Kylie. I'm the co-founder of Tomorrow's Lemonade Stand.
My name is Amanda, and I'm the co-founder of Tomorrow's Lemonade Stand. I'm an entrepreneur. My daughter Kylie is an entrepreneur, and I surround myself with minipreneurs.
I'd like to introduce you to History Spoken, the world's first global database of oral history, where we take a look at history through the eyes of those that were there to witness it.
Hi, I'm Upen Patel, founder and CEO of M2 Labs. M2 is a mobile payment solution that gives consumers and merchants an alternative to the existing 4 networks.
Transit Screen is your dashboard of real-time transportation information. It updates live, as you can see, and it supports multiple agencies and transportation modes ranging from subway, bus, bike share, car share, and even ride share.
And Tidwood as a platform was built with the concept of providing engaging online education to people who actually need it.
Hello, my name is Jason Force, the founder of eMow. We are making a grass-powered robot harvester. It's like a mower, but from a user interface point of view, it's more like a Roomba for your lawn that makes you money.
What is Rethink's big idea? Professional services knowledge automation. That is, capturing and engineering the knowledge, expertise, and insights of legal and other professional services firms through technology.
We introduce iMyPsych, the all-inclusive portal for self-help and self-improvement where any individual can improve emotional well-being.
14 finalists, 1 winner. Are you ready?
Are you ready? We are absolutely ready. And I hope you're ready for a fantastic program tonight. I know all of our challengers are ready to see who our winner is, and certainly the challengers that are backstage. Welcome, and thank you all for being here tonight to support all 14 of our challengers and celebrate their success. When we started this program back in January, honestly, we weren't quite sure where this was all going to go. We had a plan. We said we want to look for the next great idea, but we had some other goals in mind as well. We wanted to encourage and support entrepreneurship in Ballston. We wanted to strengthen our connections within our community. And we wanted to attract more great minds to Ballston to start up and grow their companies, just like these challengers. Where we end this program tonight is light years beyond what we really expected at the beginning. It's much more than we anticipated. We really created a culture that fostered strong, supportive professionals and their entrepreneurial endeavors. We created a safe environment for them to experiment. We partnered and we fostered true collaborations, real partnerships with companies and people, not just in Ballston, but beyond. We activated vacant commercial space right here in the mall. So we need to thank the Ballston Mall in Forest City for their support and giving us the LaunchPad. We were able to use that space for our programs, events, activities, and then we offered that space to organizations in our community as well. So they were able to activate the space as well. So we are grateful to have that space, and we have it for a little while longer. Finally, we not only strengthened our business connections within our community, we reached way beyond our borders. We've established new relationships, giving everyone more opportunities to grow, network with professionals throughout our region. And here is that community. We had over 100 businesses and individuals participate in the success of this program. So, and I know many of you here tonight, and you all deserve a big round of applause, please. Please. Because there's no way this program would have been so successful without your support. You sponsored, you gave money, you gave time, you were judges, you were mentors, you were instructors, all of these things. You gave in-kind services. All of these things made this program successful. It could not have happened without you. Special thanks we need to give to Mr. Ted Leonsis, the founder, majority owner, chairman and CEO of Monumental Sports and Entertainment. As you know, we're the home of the Caps. That deserves applause. Home of the Caps. Woohoo! We love the Capitals, and we are so fortunate to have Mr. Leonsis as a member of the Ballston business community. His support, as well as that of Mr. Joe Dupriest, the Chief Marketing Officer of Monumental Sports and Entertainment, really jump-started this program. It gave us a leg up so fast and so quickly. So thank you to Mr. Leonsis and to Mr. Dupriest. Yes, they can have another round. And there's a couple people that I would like to thank personally for their help and really making sure that this program rose to its highest potential. One of those persons, as I indicated, is not from Ballston. He's actually from Reston. And that person is Bruce Mancinelli, the Executive Director of Inkspire. And they're applauding because this man worked side by side with me to make sure that these challengers all had the mentorship they needed. He personally gave hours of his time to advise them on their business plans. So Bruce, thank you so much for your friendship and your partnership. Yes. I also want to thank Charlie Sibold from Marymount University. Charlie joined us in September when we were starting to perfect our pitches, and he's just been an inspiration and a great burst of energy into the program. So Charlie, thank you so much for your work on this as well. We want to thank also our media partners for this event tonight, BizNow, Tech Cocktail, and Fosterly. So thanks everyone for being part of this. And of course, we need to thank our challengers. So These 14, yes, that's it, no. These 14 groups, they're already winners. They were selected from over 225 applications that we received. So for them just to be accepted into the program was tremendous. Aside from that, all of these people are pursuing these businesses. They are bringing them to the next level. Some of them have already hired staff. Some are generating revenue already. Some are getting investments. So we are really proud of what they've accomplished up until now. So thank you all for being part of this program and making it so successful. And we intend to follow you as we go forward. So these 14 challengers last month did a pitch competition in front of a panel of judges. And that panel selected the top 3. So, I heard a glass break. That's good luck, actually. So those top 3 are back behind the scenes, and they will be pitching tonight. We also have a 4th challenger with us tonight, and that is the fan favorite. So we ran a social media campaign and asked the public to vote for their favorite, and that challenger is backstage as well. Before I introduce our challengers, I'd like to introduce our judges that judged the semifinals, please. And those people are, I believe, here in the audience, some of them. Lawrence Black, an angel investor here in our community. Lawrence, there he is. Thank you, Lawrence. It's hard to see. We have Mark Gruen from Saul Ewing, who's actually backstage, and I'll be introducing him in a moment. We have Mary McPherson, the president of M2 Works and former executive director of Netpreneur. Thank you, Mary. And then we have Karen Merrick, corporate advisor for Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority and Byberry Partners, and co-founder of Web Methods. And Karen couldn't be here with us tonight, and she's very disappointed, but she was a great, great judge for us. We're really happy that she made the time to be with us. We also have Caitlin Mulvey, leasing representative from JBG Companies, and our Gen Y rep that she was the youth on the panel, which is what we needed. So thank you, Caitlin. And of course, we have Joe Schechtel, Senior Vice President, Commercial Division of Gates Hudson Associates, and one of our treasured board members of the bid. So thank you, Joe. Thank you to all of our judges for making the very tough decision on who should be going forward to this panel of judges. So I believe tonight we also have some VIPs in the audience or that have visited us. Libby Garvey from the Arlington County Board was here. I'm not sure if she's still here, but Libby, thank you for coming by. And we also have, okay, yeah, you can give her a round of applause. It's great that she shows her support for us. We also have a 2-time gold medalist and World Cup champion soccer player with us tonight. Bri Scurry is here. Thanks for coming, Bri. And now I get to introduce this evening's judges, and these are the people who will be making the final decision on who has the next great idea. So not only is this person a very accomplished attorney, but he's also a person who supports and invests in startups. One little startup you might have heard of is CareerBuilder.com. Please help me welcome the co-managing partner of the Washington, D.C. office for Saul Ewing, LLP, Mr. Mark Gruen. Here he comes. Hey, there we go. We figured out that door. Thank you. Great, thank you. And next up, a lot of people already probably know this person. He's a big force in this world as far as innovation and technology and startups. He's at the forefront of the movement for open innovation, using technology to solve our problems in the public sector with health, energy, and education. It is my great pleasure to introduce you to the former assistant to the president and chief technology officer of the United States, Mr. Anish Chopra. I love the enthusiasm. That's great. We're also very privileged tonight to have our next judge join us. He's really on the front lines, managing our country's economic future. So he gets it. He understands what we're trying to accomplish with this LaunchPad program and challenge. He supports the entrepreneurs and creating new jobs. So, representing the 11th District of Virginia, please welcome Congressman Jerry Connolly. Hello. And our final judge, as they say, needs no introduction, but he's been most gracious to continue his support of this program by being here tonight and by being with us throughout this challenge. He is an icon for entrepreneurship. He is a treasured member of our Ballston community. Please help me welcome, a big warm welcome, for the founder, majority owner, chairman, and CEO of Monumental Sports and Entertainment, Mr. Ted Leonsis. Thank you. So with our judges in place, I'd like the challengers who are in the audience to please stand up so we can recognize you. Do we have any lights that we can? We want to actually see our challengers. see the people that have been part of this program. I think it's just really important for people to see the faces and how much, I'm going to get emotional. We really developed some wonderful relationships with this program, as I said, and these challengers, we care about each and every one of them. So as Mr. Leonsis quoted Thomas Jefferson, I wanted to reference another great leader in American history, Abraham Lincoln, and say, the only way to predict your future is to create it. And I think that's exactly what all of you are doing, which is really, really tremendous. The fact that we can play a small role in that to help you along that path, we're honored that we were part of this. So thank you for being a part of this program. So we have 4 challenge teams that are not part of the audience, and they are waiting patiently backstage, nervously backstage, to come on out. And our top 4 contenders, I'm ready to announce those right now. Our fan favorite is Upen Patel and M2 Labs. Change Cause. Build Data Analytics. And Car Square. All right. So we have a wonderful prize package in store for our winner tonight with $15,000 in cash. We also have legal services donated by Saul Ewing. We have workspace donated by Intelligent Office here in Ballston. And Washington Workplace is going to give an office furniture package as well. So all told, it's about $30,000 of prize package for our winner. So wanted to also mention that Washington Workplace is gifting an office task chair to each one of our challengers as well. So congratulations, yeah, nice little gift. And thank you to our prize sponsors. So each team will be presenting very shortly. I wanted to first, though, turn to the judges and see if they had any words of wisdom or advice for the challengers as they come on out. I'm going to start with Mark Gruen.
Thanks, Tina. I appreciate it. I wanted to say how honored I am to be part of this program and to have watched it grow from, or shrink perhaps is a better word, from 225 companies down to 3 and 1 fan favorite. It's been a very exciting process. As I've said in the past, and I said at the last meeting, I love entrepreneurs. There's nothing more exciting from someone who has a great idea and learns to build that idea into an exciting company that creates jobs and creates opportunities. And so I think everybody who's participating in this is a winner, and I wish everyone who has made it to the finals great luck, and I look forward to hearing your presentations.
Thank you, Mark. Mark has been absolutely wonderful in this program, mentoring and the challengers and being a real strong force. So thank you, Mark. Anish, go right down the line. What
All
do you
right,
have to
well,
say?
Mark is being very nice. You see, we're supposed to judge tonight, so we got to give them advice on how we're going to make that decision. So I might just suggest the following. I'm going to be looking for those contestants who can tell me whose pain are they trying to solve and how important is solving that pain to those whose pain they are solving. So I'm looking forward to those insights tonight. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Anish. Congressman?
Well, it's great to be with you. Thank you, Tina, for inviting me. It is the small entrepreneur who often ends up creating big chunks of our economy and creating jobs. So I'm here with that excitement. I'm also, as a sidebar, looking for someone to fix a little healthcare website, CVF.
He's the comic relief, if you haven't noticed. And Mr. Leonsis, I wanted to thank you again for being the inspiration for this program and any words you have to say.
Welcome, thank you, and thanks for supporting all of these entrepreneurs. We're a country that's the world's most successful and greatest startup, and like all the judges here, I too love entrepreneurs. Probably read this morning we made a big investment in Sweetgreen.
Wow, fantastic.
And I think that their story is so pure Americana. 3 students at Georgetown hated the food the university was fostering on them, said we can do better, convinced their landlord who had a abandoned store on M Street to give them a chance. And he believed in them, and they started this one store. Now they have 22 stores, and this is going to be a big, important company, and our job is to embrace them, support them, make them really, really successful. My bet is that we're going to have a winner here. We'll make a choice, but that several of these companies and these entrepreneurs will be funded. And my biggest advice is to everyone, don't quit. My first company, I was turned down 63 times.
Oh my gosh,
I had 63 presentations till someone believed in that pitch.
Wow.
That company struggled early on, and then eventually sold to America Online, and at its peak was valued at about $12 billion. So I remind the 63 who passed all the time that they weren't that smart. But I mean that. Just don't quit. We don't have all of the answers, and if you have a big idea and you really believe in it, keep going.
All right. You see why he was the inspiration for this program. And now we're about ready to introduce our first challenger. I wanted to first to ask you to please make all these challengers feel welcome. You can, give them that big round of applause, show your support, because this is not easy standing up here, number one. And you can't see my knees shaking, but they are. Number two, to pitch to this panel of judges, wow, the pressure and the nerves are really going. So please make them all feel welcome when they come on out of those doors. So without further ado, our first challenger was actually not selected by our judges. But there are many people out there who think he does have a great idea. He received over 3,000 votes over just a few days, and he won the fan favorite vote by a margin of 300%. So it is my great pleasure to introduce Upen Patel and M2 Labs.
Hi, I'm Upen Patel, founder and CEO of M2 Labs. Over a year and a half back, Google Wallet came out, and I was like, yes, I'm going to finally be able to get rid of my wallet and be able to use my smartphone to be able to make payments. Obviously, that was a very naive thinking, because Google Wallet was, it's like, you can do anything you want as long as it's, a Sprint phone and a Citi MasterCard. And then Square come along, and many other different mobile payment solutions came along, and none of them really kind of had the ubiquity and the security aspects that I, as a consumer, have wanted. And then about 2 years back now, my dad passed away. So I was away from work. I kind of came back into work, and my heart just wasn't into it. That's when I said, you know what? Forget it. I want to follow my heart. I want to focus on making a difference, because I had a certain vision of what mobile payments can do, which is to revolutionize and change the industry. But what I kind of understood and kind of learned is that everything that's kind of been happening is not revolution, it's simply a small evolution. And what I'm looking for is a revolution. So that's where I kind of said, you know what, I cannot go change the big, the big four, Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover, but I can go out and start my own transaction rail and make a difference. That's what brings me to M2 Labs. Using the mobile payment solution, I think I can deliver a significant savings for the merchant, be able to make a difference in their lives, the consumer, and the community at the same time. Hey everyone. Hello judges. Upen Patel, founder and CEO of M2 Labs. So M2 is a new mobile payment network focused on everyday transactions. My focus is to eliminate our need and dependence on the gang of four, as I call them. That's not important just for M2's existence, but that's important for all of us. So let me share with you how M2 is going to make a difference in the lives of the merchants, make economies everywhere strong, and put money in our pockets, yours and the consumers. So we all like the convenience of cashless transactions, right? Today we get that by using credit cards and debit cards. And at some point you've gone into one of the local businesses and seen one of these signs and it's like, great, I can't use my credit card anymore. This guy's making my life miserable. Well, it's not because they hate you, right? None of us, but they do hate the transaction fees. Right? The small businesses, the coffee shop, Sweet Green, right? They give up nearly 25% of their profits to give us the convenience. And they're only making pennies for every dollar of transaction. Now that's a high cost to pay. Not even charities are immune from this, right? But the banking and the credit card industry, they thank you for your donations. So you're saying, all right, why can we not just take technology and make all this better? Great idea, right? But except logic does not apply to the payment industry. They are a monopoly of their own, and they control the industry, obviously resulting in high cost to merchants, which gets passed on to you and me. So we are paying for those transaction fees, whether we like it or not. Right? You're saying $2 trillion. What is that crazy number? That's what consumers spent on debit cards alone in 2012. Right? So nearly 50 cents out of every dollar was spent on debit cards. But for this, we all got zero rewards, and the merchants obviously paid the high transaction fees. So what if there was an option, a network that actually made a difference, saved nearly 90% for the merchants, gave consumers the benefit of a cashless transaction, the convenience we want, and actually rewarded for you for using that network? That's what M2 is about. M2 is a win-win solution for consumers and merchants. With M2, all you need is your smartphone. With our patent-pending technology, the minute you enter into the mobile application, it creates a unique transaction code for that instance so that your privacy, everybody there, right? Your privacy is protected, and both the consumer and the merchant are protected against fraud, so you don't have to worry about it. Lots of competition, right? But as everybody can see, right? It's in one big corner because it's all, like I said earlier, it's all evolution, no innovation. What I'm looking to do is, with M2's patent-pending technology, launch a new transaction rail, a payment network that's actually going to be significantly cheaper and way more secure so that it adds value to you, the consumers, and to the merchants. We're going to start out with a simple business model. There's many other crazy things going on within my startup. So I'm going to focus on one business model and focus on acquiring consumers and merchants. A low transaction fee, make it easy for the merchants to sign on, be part of the network. I've been working on this for many months, right? Talk to merchants, talk to consumers, went through multiple different business models to come to where I am today, right? And I've been recognized by many different organizations for this effort. Obviously, Ballston LaunchPad being key among them to give me the chance to be here. We all know revolutions don't come cheap. I'm looking at a $2 million seed round which is an 18-month runway to build out M2's platform and bring it to market. But the one key aspect that's not on here is the banking relationship that this strategic investment is going to bring to the table, which is critical to be able to launch M2. Not everybody is going to jump on board. That would instantly make me even richer than Bill Gates, right? Going to need to do some really hard work. But that hard work will result in profits for my investors and myself. But what I'll be the most proud about is the money that M2 will save the merchants. That's money that's going to stay in the local economy as discounts to consumers. The merchant using the money to expand, hiring more resources, maybe even paying better, right? That's money that's staying in the economy versus kind of going off to some corporate coffers. Now that's worth working really hard for. I just kind of shared with you how M2 can save money for the merchants, make economy strong everywhere locally, and put profits in your pockets as well as your pockets. Right? M2 is a big idea. It's a revolutionary idea. What's needed is a complete rethink of how payments are going to work in the mobile era, not drag down the mobile era with the baggage of 60 years old. I've already begun this journey. Join me and access the new payment era. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Upen. Judges, do we have any questions or comments for Upen and M2 Labs?
Let's start with chicken and egg. What will help you succeed faster? Consumer adoption, enabling the transaction, or the retailers whose job it is to accept? You're going after the merchants
The
first.
merchant, because that, like you said earlier, the pain point is on the merchant end, not the consumer end. The consumer, I'm going to have to incentivize to come on, but the pain, the merchants feel the pain. And I've already spoken to lots of merchants, and they're like, sign me on today. Obviously, I can't, because otherwise I'll be spending my time in federal jail. But that's why I need to have that bank on board to be able to launch M2.
And I didn't see it, just to clarify. What's the on-premise hardware requirement for them to scan in the QR code?
The initial launch is going to be a mobile-to-mobile interface. The consumer end will always stay mobile, but then I'll be extending into direct POS integrations. But again, that's time and cost involved there.
So Uben, essentially in terms of the transaction, the merchant has a mechanism for getting directly into my bank account. Is that right?
No, M2.
What's the actual method of payment then?
So your phone is how it's kind of the M2 is kind of providing the network, just like Visa and MasterCard are providing the network to the pipeline to transact between the consumer and the merchant. The same way M2.
But they're transacting through a bank.
Through a bank, right?
Presumably accessing my account.
Not right away, because that kind of goes into what you're talking about is debit kind of transactions, and as you would know, there are lots of regulations. So I'm trying to stay away from too much of the debit regulations, stay more on the prepaid component, and then go directly into the credit side of it.
Yeah, we're not big on debit in Congress.
Yeah, yeah.
Am I on? Yeah. So your concept is to adjust price. That's the way you're going to enter the market. So what's precluding the monopoly from ultimately squashing you, or what's the barrier to entry from other companies doing the same thing?
So I'll kind of quote a great person who said this earlier. Said, right? Monopoly, they can squash me like that, but they are public companies. They cannot just switch their entire business model overnight to go after me, a startup. So that's one of the reasons that they wouldn't just kind of step out and say, okay, we're going to kind of eliminate you. But they can. You're right.
I'm the wrong guy to have you pitch. In 2006, we started Revolution Money.
Yep.
And it was using the internet to disintermediate, and we sold the company to American Express, as you know.
Correct. Yep.
So I guess I'm a monopolist now.
But you can always change sides again.
But boiling an ocean takes a lot.
Absolutely.
We spent almost $60 million to get it to the point where we could do battle on the chicken and the egg side. We had to build a platform. We had to go and get, there's 5 million, 6 million merchants that accept those cards. So getting acceptance and awareness was really important and really expensive. And then you had to convince them to accept by saying customers will come in, that's how you'll save the money.
Right.
And then marketing to consumers is very expensive, even though we were doing it predominantly online. We weren't doing mailings. And so building that chicken and the egg is very, very expensive. Congressman talked about, will you be doing ACH funding going right from your bank? Once you touch the banking rails, as you said, the enormity of the regulations are know thy customer, interstate money transfer becomes, you have to get approved in every state. And so this is a very, very big.
It is revolutionary. I agree.
Well,
but that's why it's a word.
But the companies that you're taking on, Google, with unlimited funding, has struggled to do something there. And you're going to need someone's balance sheet. You said you'll need a. So I think of all the plans that I saw, it's the most ambitious. It's probably the hardest to execute. And $2 million in seed capital seemed like, it didn't seem like the right amount to execute what needs to be done. So those were my overall concerns. I say, way to go to boil the ocean, but you're going to need a lot of matches.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right,
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the first selection from our judges, Zach Licio and the Change Cause team.
Hi, I'm Zach Licio. I'm one of the co-founders of Change Cause.
I'm Patrick Costello. I'm also a co-founder of Change Cause. And I'm Mike, a co-founder as well.
When I first met Edward back at Living Social, we talked a lot about the emergence of mobile payments, actually. And we were really interested in building a layer on top of tap and pay wallets that would round up and give the change to charity. And when we realized that that industry wasn't really something we wanted to be part of, we had already really fallen in love with the idea of raising small amounts of money for good causes. And that's what became sort of the seed that grew into Change Cause.
It's so cool how you can go in and really have a big impact with relatively small amounts of money, and it's really mobilizing a group of people who have generally been overlooked to some extent by the fundraising community because, micro donors, so people who may not have a whole lot of money to give.
Some charities like the Red Cross and Habitat for Humanity, they don't quite have this problem. They're a big charity, thousands, millions donate to them every day. But some of these smaller charities, like Playworks and Volunteers of America, they don't quite have this outreach, and it's a lot harder for them to raise money. So by helping these little guys out and growing them larger is really rewarding as well.
We have spent every ounce of energy, imagination, and creativity over the past year to bring you this product. We are really, really excited about what we've built and are thrilled to be able to finally share it with you. We are going to change the world, and we already are, one donation at a time. We are the Change Cause team. Make your 2 cents rain. Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Zach Licio, and we are the Change Cause team. When we started the LaunchPad program in June, most people would have looked at Change Cause and said we had nothing. It would have been really difficult to argue with them. We had no revenue, we had no paying clients, we had no full-time employees, and we had no product. That was 5 months ago. But in the 10 weeks since launching our site, we've signed enterprise contracts with 5 paying companies and are changing the way that brands do cause marketing. We are delivering twice the engagement of Facebook's ads on their own platform for major brands. But we'll get back to that in a minute. Let's start with a little context. I want you to think back. When's the last time that you clicked an ad on the internet? Seriously, was it this week? This month? If you can't remember clicking one at all, you're not alone. Display advertising is broken. And this is a really big deal because it's the financial backbone of the entire internet. Click-through rates are 45 times worse than they were at their peak in the year 2000. And half of all ads are either not seen by anyone or clicked by robots. Statistically, you're more likely to either win the lottery or be struck by lightning than you are to click a display ad. Yet, they're still the largest part of online ad spend because brands need to reach consumers. The top companies in the industry, Google and Facebook among them, are aware of this problem and they're scared to death. We created ChangeCause as an alternative to this noisy, ineffective industry, using a consumer's core values and existing loyalties to build an emotional connection with a brand. We connect companies to customers through the shared support of a cause. At our core, we're about one simple big idea, that we can measurably improve a brand's bottom line while making impactful change on the world around us. And the cool thing is, it's working. Now, it's a pretty radical notion that giving money away can be as effective for building a brand as paid advertising. But for a relatively small amount of money, we're creating enormous measurable exposure for our clients. Let's run through an example. This one comes from a real campaign we're running right now with Honest Tea, one of Coca-Cola's brands. We've paired them with Playworks, a nonprofit that makes recess safe and accessible for inner city schools. Playworks encourages their supporter, in this case me, to donate $1 to $5 via ChangeCause. That process takes about 2 minutes. The result of that donation is this post, which you'll notice looks a lot like something one of your friends would share on Facebook, or more similarly, a newsfeed ad, with 2 important distinctions. A newsfeed ad has a big tag on it that says sponsored, alerting a user that it's an ad. It also comes from a brand's voice talking about itself, as opposed to the ChangeCause story, which comes a bit more organically from a user's voice. Making a donation is just one of the many ways that we allow users to raise money for causes. In just the last 2 weeks, we added 4 additional methods of supporting a cause, all of which are free. Those are things like watching a video or an online check-in that result in a donation being made to the charity of their choice. A campaign like Honest Tea's generates about 10,000 impressions and is driving twice the click-through of Facebook. It's also got higher per-post engagement. And the reason for that is that people actually care about the message that they're receiving. I'm confident that there will soon be many competitors duplicating our approach. After all, it's a $20 billion industry. So we filed a trademark and a provisional patent to protect our IP. However, what's really central to our success will be our team. With backgrounds at Google, Living Social, Appian, NPR, ICF, and 2U, we've got the tech talent and sales hustle required to out-innovate and outscale our competitors. We've also partnered with major PR firms and advertising agents who are sharing our technology with their clients, making it easy for us to scale. So, is this a big idea? We know it is, because our platform represents a larger, more fundamental truth. The businesses that do more good and give more back are more profitable in the long run. As it stands, we are the only platform capable of delivering more value from a donation than paid advertising. We create the kind of emotional connection that consumers feel for brands like Warby Parker or Tom's Shoes, which is something every Fortune 1000 wants as part of their media mix. And the nonprofits we work with love us. It isn't hard to see why. We are the first and only platform offering them 0% transaction fees on all of their fundraising. We've also built a suite of tools that makes it simple and easy to engage their supporters. Andrew Carnegie probably said it best. Fill the other guy's basket to the brim. Making money then becomes an easy proposition. We're taking that idea to a whole new level in the digital age. We are already generating revenue. And with our help, our clients are reaching consumers around their shared beliefs. We've done that without any outside investment, and with more than half of our team still at their day jobs. Now, it's time to scale that vision. We're raising a $1.1 million seed round. That will allow us to expand from our current 5 to 60 sponsors and generate $1.8 million in revenue by the end of next year. We've already begun automating onboarding and client management, so by the end of 2016, we'll have 940 sponsors and a corresponding $89 million in top-line revenue. It's ambitious, and it's certainly not going to be easy. The big ideas never are. So join us, not only in raising more money for good causes, but in fundamentally shifting the way brands think about communicating their core values. It's time for advertising to change the world. Thanks for learning about ChangeCause. Make your 2 cents rain.
the first thing is, can I get one of those T-shirts? They're fantastic. They're excellent.
We will be putting them up for crowdsourced sale.
Great. Are there analytics behind your approach to advertising and marketing?
Sure,
how
absolutely.
How are you going to manage that with your client base, as it were?
Sure. So we built a handful of custom integrations with all of the social networks we share posts to. And in real time, we're actually able to show a client per dollar they've spent every single standard ad metric. So we can show them on a donation what their cost per click was or their cost per impression, as well as how many of their friends saw something. We even actually dynamically generate each message that's shared as part of a campaign, and then not just A/B test, but test among 15 or 20 messages to see what gets the best exposure for the sponsor and the nonprofit.
So it's not advertising, it's branding then, because how are you translating the investment into the charitable organization, which is a great cause, into selling tea, for example?
Sure. We don't look at it as conversion-based advertising. We do really look at it more as associative marketing. So trying to build a lasting connection in a user's mind. But I think it's a brave new world in terms of where the line between advertising, marketing, and branding, there is no clear barrier anymore. We really are native advertising to the platforms we're reaching, and by showing a customer or client, a sponsor, how much they spent and the exposure they received in return, it doesn't matter whether it's called advertising or marketing. At the end of the day, what they care about is the exposure.
Thank you.
I missed just are you clicking through to a landing page that's got the broader content that the ad sponsor is hosting, or are you taking him straight to the Playworks page?
Sure. So a charity, Playworks, for example, will reach out to their supporters, and the link will actually be an endpoint on our site, which is their fundraising, crowdsourced drive. And as the user completes the donation, automatically, as part of that, sign-up flow, that post is actually shared into the user's newsfeed, and also other social networks. And we start to measure the impact of that post as if it were an organic post, because it doesn't say sponsored. And it really is content that someone voluntarily shared, but that can contain the brand's message. And that can be take a variety of forms, whether that's a link or an image or really whatever the sponsor and the receiving charity have agreed on to promote.
My friends on the other side of the aisle often forget that the other part of something called debt is lack of revenue.
Sure.
So remind us again how you're going to make sure you don't fall into that trap, that you've got sufficient revenue.
Sure thing.
You take zero transaction fee, you said.
From the nonprofits. So we charge a per post fee for every match that we make for the sponsor. So if you're Honest Tea, I won't get into exact numbers, but they're paying, for every $1 match donation, they're paying X on top of that for the service of matching, broadcasting, and measurement. And what we try and do is really structure it so it ends up cheaper than the display they would have bought from Facebook directly, even after our fees.
Self-provisioned or selling direct?
So that's one of the things that we've been working on a lot. We think that direct sales will always be a big part of what we do, but really we want to build a platform for other people to make money. Digitas is one of the agencies we've started working with, a handful of others, and they're pushing this out to their ad sales reps as a tool for their clients. If you want cause marketing, there's nothing like this that offers measurable cause marketing. So, if you're running a full media mix with video, display, a handful of other mediums, adding this to the mix makes a lot of sense for a big brand.
When you said the average distribution's 10,000, that's because I have 5,000 friends on Facebook and it goes to Twitter and.
Yeah, we look at the average number of friends a user has. We also look at the number of times a post was shared. We're trying to calculate in real time, to the best of our ability, exactly how many eyeballs a post crossed. But one of the things we actually think is more important is how much engagement it gets. So we really prioritize the clicks, likes, shares, comments, because any ad can measure how many times someone looked at it. But what no ad in the world can offer is people liking it and sharing it and actually saying, I believe in what this cause has, I believe in the sponsor supporting this cause. And we can go back to a brand and share that message with them.
And you have your associates here, but we have no idea what they do. So
Edward runs operations. Mike is our chief technical officer. Mark is another developer on the team. And Patrick is our analytics guru. And team's about 50-50 developer and business. Split right down the middle. Yeah, Swiss Army knife.
Let me ask one more question.
Sure.
The first 10 years of my career, I ran nonprofits, but it was before all of this. Are you going to have some standards whereby you filter who will be a proper recipient and who won't? For example, nonprofit X takes 85% of every dollar for overhead and administration. Are you going to have any standards so that people knowing when they retain your services, we've also got some quality control of the charity who's the recipient?
We believe really in empowering the donor to decide who they want to give to, but providing them as much information to make a good choice as possible. So we integrate with Charity Navigator, who's probably the most established player in the space. They actually look at things like overhead to come up with a 5-star rating, and we share that information on the site. So, we've built the integration. It's not visible yet, but licensing.
Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Change Cause team. And now it's time for our next challenger, Tiffany Jose Brown and Build Data Analytics.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Jose Brown. I am founder of Build Data Analytics and creator of CT BIM. So I am a lawyer by training. I practiced law for 15 years, and one day my family came up with this great idea to start a construction company. And I have no background in construction, so I said, hey, let's go work on a construction site for 2 years so I can understand the process of construction. The best way to describe what I've created is the thing that when people see it and hear about it, they analogize it to having a custom home built. Those kinds of questions are the same kinds of questions that we address on a much larger scale with our company. So when I created the software, I actually went to a conference in Vegas and showed it to someone, and they said, oh my goodness, Tiffany, you have to show this to my friend, he's an architect. So he gave me the guy's number, and I called him, and irony of all ironies, he was the lead architect on the very job we created the software on, the one that we were working on. So we had lunch, I showed it to him, he said, you have no idea what you've created. So he happens to work for the 6th largest architectural firm in the country. And then later I showed it to an old friend who is the CIO of BAE Systems, and he said, oh my gosh, you have no idea what you've created. He said, we could use this in shipbuilding. So at some point it clicked in that, hey, this is actually a bigger idea than what I thought I was creating. I thought I was creating something to make our company different and stand out among the crowd of other contractors. And it actually happens to be something that a lot of people find quite beneficial and really exciting. So it is a big idea, and I hope after our presentation today you'll think so too. Got to get the clicker. Good evening, I'm Tiffany Jose Brown. It's a pleasure to meet all of you, judges. I am the founder of Build Data Analytics, and first thing I want to share with you is Build Data Analytics is a business intelligence company for the commercial construction industry. This is a $7.2 trillion industry, and believe it or not, it realizes $2 trillion of waste annually, which is an insane number. So the one thing I want you to take away from my presentation this evening, judges, is that customers of Build Data Analytics are guaranteed a 1% return on their, well, a 1% savings on the total project cost. And let me quantify that for you. So in our pilot program that we have now, we have several contracts already signed that are valued over $1 billion. Those contracts, we guarantee that those clients will save $10.5 million on those contracts. So one is a $1 billion sports complex that's being built in Chicago. The other is a $50 million equestrian club, and we have a few more in the hopper. So let me give you a little background on how I got here. My family has a construction company, and I served as president of the company for about 7 years. The first year, our revenues were $147,000. I grew the company's revenues up to about $8.2 million before I left in 2012 to dedicate full-time on Build Data Analytics. Now, in 2010, we got a contract to install or oversee management of the installation of thousands of doors, frames, and hardware in a 2 million square foot building. So the first thing I did, because I'm not a lawyer, I am not a construction person, I went and got a contractor's license from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Class A license. I then got certified by the Army Corps of Engineers in Quality Control Construction Management. So I proceeded to put on a hard hat. I walked a 2 million square foot building through two blizzards, 100-degree summer with no air conditioning, and I worked that job. And the first thing I noticed when I got there was, my gosh, there's so much chaos here that everybody accepts as a norm. I couldn't understand it. So I said, we've got to do something about this, because I kept getting frustrated with my experiences. For example, when we would receive a shipment of inventory, it literally would take the greater part of a day, maybe 8 hours and 6 to 8 laborers to check in inventory. Makes no sense. Also, you'd have a door installed somewhere and it's in the wrong place because the guys who installed the door are working off of outdated plans. That doesn't make any sense. All you have to do is keep up with the blueprints. So I said, well, let's fix this. So I created our flagship patent-pending software platform called CTBIM, which stands for Construction Trade Building Information Management, which is more than a mouthful. But it really encapsulates everything that it does. So basically, when the architects finish their plans, we actually get that information from them. We find out who the material suppliers are, contact them, and we load into our system all the barcodes so that when the guys receive inventory, you scan it in with just a simple tablet or a smartphone. Very easy, no big deal. Takes a few minutes. Next thing we did is we work with the architects as soon as they finish the plans. We pull in the construction trades. Each one of the trades has a template in our system for every room in a building. So let's say this is a 90-story building, and let's call it 01C10. So there are guys responsible for putting in the walls, the doors, the windows, electrical conduit, the plumbing, everything. All of those guys need something from the blueprints to build in this room. So we put all that information on one platform in our system. It's accessible via the web. It's accessible offline also because we have an app, and they can do all of their building activities without having blueprints. And this is just, a layout of what it looks like. So, because you have all the latest and greatest information, because the architects on their software, they have an actual plugin that exports their information into our system. And so there should never be a reason why you're working off outdated plans. And I failed to mention that the process of onboarding these customers, these construction trades, and customizing their templates only takes about 45 minutes at the most. It's usually a lot less than that. Now, our revenue model is a recurring revenue. We're a SaaS solution, priced per project. And like the billion-dollar sports complex, the developers purchase our software for that job for every one of the construction trades on the job. So we charge them a percentage of that total project. Excuse me. And then for contractors, the cost is only about $4 a day. There are other construction software companies out there, but we are different. We are the first business intelligence company. We are not a software company. We happen to have a product that is a software that allows for the information to be gathered and captured for the business analytics. So that's why we're different. Okay, judges, this is why this is exciting. An audience. Our ability to generate revenues is not dependent on the construction industry in the United States of America. We are a global company. We've received inquiries to have our software used in Qatar, in Dubai, in Jordan, in Greece, in South Africa. We're global. So we have the flexibility and the adaptability to be used in all these other industries. So I hope that you can understand why that is a big deal. After our first year of operations, we will be cash flow positive just based on the pilots we've already signed. And with a $2.5 million investment, we will be able to more quickly scale to pursue the opportunities that we have in front of us now. Ladies and gentlemen and judges, I do hope that I have convinced you that Build Data Analytics is the next big business idea.
Great job.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your management.
So I have a chief technology officer who is formerly with the defense intelligence industry and is now at Booz Allen and is waiting for me to get the money to hire him full time.
Okay.
I have a COO. No.
They do now.
Oops. So I'll be better about this one. I have a COO who's with a Fortune 500 company, who shall remain nameless right now, but he too, or she too, is also looking forward to me getting the investment to bring them on full time. I have architects who are interested in joining full time as soon as I can afford them. And I also have sales team that are also willing to start tomorrow if I had an investment.
So direct sales, private label, how are you planning to roll out?
Right now it's direct sales. My target is the real estate developers, and that has been tremendously successful. I just got a call yesterday from a developer who's building a music-themed Disneyland type place in South Africa and in South Korea, and they're both about $1.7 billion projects, and they want to use the software on those projects and also our analytics.
In multi-languages?
Yes, of course. I speak Japanese.
Of course. Of course.
Thank you.
I was really struck by the initial statistic you used that in a $7.2 trillion industry, about $2.1 trillion is wasted or very inefficiently used.
Yes.
That starts to make the government look efficient. I mean, those are really stunning numbers.
Until you ask about the shipbuilding industry, right?
But listening to what you have, which I think is an intriguing concept, but it sounds to me like a very avant-garde way of expressing value engineering. Large construction projects, certainly in the public sector, usually are value engineered precisely to get down the cost and to eliminate inefficiencies.
Right, and most companies have taken a management level down approach to value engineering, and we're the first to take a field level up approach. So we equip the people who are making things work, actually doing the building, with the ability to capture the information. And there's so many data points in construction that have traditionally been lost, and no one has really taken the time to capture it. And that information can lead to best practices, to identifying who the best contractors are, who the worst contractors are. Really, when you do scheduling, for example, it's all based on estimating. We have a time clock on each one of our templates, so when you go into a room, you know exactly how much time it took to put in the window, the door, et cetera. So you can look at a trend and see, where is my waste, and how can I make improvements?
Maybe I'll give you two questions. The first is just on the data itself, bringing it in from the architect and the original model. How liquid is this data today? Is it easily interoperable, or do you spend a lot of time and money trying to massage the data and incorporate it so that it can be used, or do you have to set up interfaces for each one of these architects who send you this raw? How easy is this data to move around the internet, if you will, or move around your system?
The architects have a plugin we started with Revit, which is the predominant software system that's being used by architects now. There's a plug-in there. They click a button, export to CTBIM, and all the information goes into our system to each one of the trades. That's it.
And then I guess the second one is a little bit about where the good congressman was going. A lot of this is change management to the frontline worker who's either looking at the data, integrating, or doing something with it. How are you handling the actual? I get the enterprise project manager saying, this is brilliant, let's go after this. But when it comes to changing the behavior for the frontline worker, how much training is involved, how much work is involved to get a job to be fully data-driven, if you will?
I love that question because I worked on a construction site with these guys for 2 years. And when they saw me with my tablet, because in fact, when I created this, it was in 2010 before the iPad came out, and I thought I would be carrying a netbook around because they're small and portable. But then when they saw me with my iPad, I had a lot of construction trades come up to me and say, what are you doing? Can I use that? Because it'll help me keep up with my inventory. It'll help me when, okay, so you put in the door, someone comes behind you and causes damage to the door, and then there's a lot of finger pointing about who caused the damage and therefore who's got to pay for it. Those guys, You take a picture as soon as you install something, you capture the physical condition, you know exactly what it looked like. So if someone else comes in behind you and says, you caused that, you know, good luck, buddy, here's what it looked like. And so the training, it's built to be user-friendly because I had a lot of experiences with people in the field who were challenging. And from my perspective, I needed to make it as easy as possible so that you click, there are 5 places. You scan an inventory, you click a button when you install something, and it automatically populates the date and time. If there is a discrepancy between the field conditions and what you see, where you expect to see based on the architectural drawings, we customize it so in the background, we already know who you're sending that email to, so you just describe it, hit upload, and it sends that email. And also, let's see, that's about it. That really is about all the clicking that you'll have to do. And then for the executive level people, all they're doing is taking in the information, reading the data, getting reports, understanding how much money has been spent in real time in this very minute of this day. How much inventory has been installed in this very minute? How much do we have on hand today? So that, I think, is the most important thing, is really, really user-friendly.
Probably makes it more efficient in terms of drawdown, too, because you can say you completed a certain amount of the job and demonstrate it, correct?
The first time you come up on the site, there's a dashboard that says percentage of completion for each one of the trades.
Use of proceeds, what are you going to do with the money?
What money?
The investment dollar. Not the $15,000 you're asking for millions of dollars. Is it
Like I
hiring
said,
people?
I understand. I would like to hire my management team. There's also additional.
How have you been doing it today? When you go and install.
You know, it's interesting. When you have I'm finding out when you have a really good idea, people are willing to donate a lot of their work and efforts to support you in anticipation of the day when you can bring them on board. And that's been my experience. I will use the money to bring on my management team. I will bring it on because I'm getting opportunities that I can't handle. I mean, I did know the South Africa opportunity was coming up yesterday. We also have additional patents that we need to file. And there's architectural things that we need done to the software to make it much more protected, so it'll be harder for someone to come in and duplicate what we do. So we've got a great game plan and we've got a great future ahead of us. We just need a bit of support.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Tiffany. Fantastic job.
Now, Anish, you referred to the good congressman. I assume the bad congressman would not come tonight.
We could talk about that later. And now for our final challenger tonight, we have Khurram Shakir and the Car Square team.
My name is Khurram Shakir. I'm the founder of Car Square. Founded Car Square based off of my own personal frustration and a love for cars.
My name is Phil Howard. I'm VP of Operations and Business Development for Car Square.
I'm Ron Frazier. I'm the Chief Engineer. I spend most of my time with the infrastructure for the company.
Hi, my name is Micah Sellers, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer and Interim CTO at Car Square.
Phil, Ron, and myself, we've been friends since childhood. We go back to middle school days. Being the business development lead for AOL Autos, I was also fortunate enough to work on some of the kayak partner relationships. And then after leaving AOL, started looking for my own vehicle. Even before that, very frustrating times searching through multiple auto sites over and over again. And a light bulb actually went off in my head, and sort of like the cartoons where you see the light bulb going off. It was more like do a kayak for cars. So started working and building relationships with clients that I've already had, like Cars.com and eBay, and accessing their inventory and put a website together, and now we're taking it to the next level. Ted, nice to meet you. Tina, thank you. Appreciate it. Mark, nice to meet you. Thank you.
No gifts allowed.
Thank you.
$50. A little bit. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Khurram Shakir. Hope you're all doing well tonight. Thank you for coming. Before we get started, I have a couple of quick questions for everybody. How many of you have heard of the travel site kayak.com? Just show of hands. Can you tell me what it is? Great answer. Can you give that young man a shirt, please? Now, another similar site. How many, by show of hands, have heard of Indeed.com? Can you tell me what it is? Great answer. And we will definitely get you a shirt as well. No. I'm trying to remember my words. I actually forgot. Sorry. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Like many of you, I remember looking through newspapers and automobile magazines, searching for my perfect car, while getting black ink all over my hands, my clothes, and in some instances on my face. With the advancement of technology and internet sites like AutoTrader, Cars.com, and eBay, things got easier. But as technology improved, more and more auto sites began to show up, and searching through multiple auto sites for the same vehicle over and over again became a hassle. In fact, ComScore states that of the 51 million monthly car shoppers, 17 million will visit multiple auto sites. Google and J.D. Power have published that an average car buyer will visit 18 different auto sites. That's not only time-consuming, but it's a headache. I see you nodding your head. You understand what I'm saying. You felt that frustration. And that's exactly why I founded CarSquare, to eliminate the frustration of searching multiple auto sites for the same vehicle over and over again. Having 15 plus years in the automotive industry, and after leaving AOL as the business development lead for AOL Autos, I've strategically negotiated partnerships with some of the top auto sites. And as a result, CarSquare is now covering 70% of the online automotive inventory. But wait a minute, we haven't stopped there. We have several pending partnerships close to signing that will increase our market reach and position CarSquare as a leader in the online automotive search process. Being a bootstrap startup has been the most difficult thing that we have done. You can't call it sick. There's no pay. And I'm working on a very limited budget. Our team has been extremely focused and very efficient. So far, our team has been recognized by startup conferences and voted DC's hottest tech startup by Tech Cocktail. We've also been awarded $60,000 in Microsoft Azure products and services. And here's a screenshot of our live revenue-generating website showcasing new, used, and leased vehicle listings from multiple auto sites side by side in English or Spanish. We've also made it very easy to be able to access our site from PCs and any mobile device. Looking at the quadrant chart, you can clearly see our competitors and traditional sites like AutoTrader and Cars.com. But what stands out is that we are in a class all by ourselves. CarSquare is the only multi-platform automotive meta search engine that will show vehicle listings from multiple auto sites side by side in one place. We know we're driving in the right direction. And as you can see, industry experts are now calling for an all-in-one multi-platform environment. Not only are we providing what these industry experts are calling for, but we're also differentiating ourselves through our product strategy by developing our very own social media platform catered to car buyers and car enthusiasts. We're also developing an innovative patentable mobile technology that will change the way consumers negotiate and search for cars on the go. And for those in-home mechanics and tuners that like to tinker with their cars, we're also launching a B2C parts platform. If I can go back. We'll stay here. In addition to SEO and SEM, our marketing strategy is simple. We plan to leverage our strategic partnership with Microsoft by utilizing their MSDN Channel 9 platform and the MSN portal. We will also utilize gaming and video pre-roll advertisement and license and distribute our CarSquare search widgets. Our marketing strategy is a key component to increasing EBITDA and driving our year-over-year metrics. Our revenue model is derived from CPCs, lead gen, advertisement, and dealer subscription. As part of our strategy, we plan to maintain a 50-cent or lower user cost per acquisition. We're seeking $2 million, and as you can see, advertisement will be our largest spend. As a result, we will position CarSquare to control 2 to 5% of the market. That is approximately 1 million to 57 million annual users from year 1 to year 3. With a combined 165 years of experience in automotive sales and services, marketing, and e-commerce, to name a few areas of expertise, from industry leaders like AOL, Apple, Georgetown, and CareerBuilder, we have a great, solid team of professionals between our management team and our board of advisory team to execute our strategy. Now, let's bring this all together. What makes CarSquare the next big idea? For starters, we've already created the foundation for a multi-platform, all-in-one automotive meta search engine, similar to Kayak and Indeed.com, 2 very successful startups that were recently purchased for $2 billion each. That's $2 billion. Now, I'm not saying CarSquare will be purchased for $2 billion, but I certainly wouldn't hold it back from being purchased for more than $2 billion. Look, our initial market size is similar to both. But by developing a B2C parts platform to building a powerful automotive ad network from all the consumer data that we've collected from our search engine database, combined with a B2B dealer auction platform, we're developing a bigger idea. An all-in-one automotive marketplace, the trillion-dollar marketplace, with a higher ROI for our shareholders. Again, my name is Khurram Shakir, and this is my team. We thank you very much for your time and look forward to answering any questions you have.
Judges?
I just want to make sure I get a clear handle on it. So you're essentially the lead gen source down the chain, and so is there enough revenue to go around if I go from you to cars, from cars to the source of the original place, maybe the dealer? How many layers of middlemen getting me from me to that vehicle that I'm all the way? I mean, I'm trying to get a handle on what that customer journey looks like from a lead.
Great question. One click. You come to our site. If I can back up. Okay. Here's a screenshot of our site. You see vehicle listings from Cars.com, AutoTrader, eBay, Penske, and LotLinks, several and so forth. You click on any one of their listings, it'll reroute you, just like Google, to CarSquare. To Cars.com or eBay, whatever listing that you click on. We made it very easy for you to realize that this particular vehicle is from Cars.com or eBay by simply, instead of providing contextual link, we actually have the contextual link in the background, and you see their logos.
Can you just stay there for a minute?
Sure.
Adding to that, so, okay, I can click on and see what's being offered.
Yes.
But can I also give you the specs I'm looking for in a vehicle and have it matched up with these offers?
Yes, that's in our next integration.
Okay.
a little bit about, you mentioned the auction revenue. What's that all about?
Auction revenue, not very many people know. Dealers, after about 45 days or so, what they end up doing is that they take those vehicles that haven't sold and they bring them to an auction platform. By doing so, they're putting it on a big hauler, take it to the auction industry, and they're paying an auction fee. They are paying extra insurance to have that vehicle on in case for any damages. Whether or not that vehicle will be sold or not, they still pay those fees. Our platform makes it easier, and it'll be a dealer-only auction platform, similar to what you see here for consumers, B2C. It'll be a B2B platform, allowing dealers throughout the country, 45,000 dealerships and growing, to be able to look at each other's inventory and to be able to purchase each other's inventory, therefore turning their inventory faster and creating more revenue for them.
Can you also turn that around for the consumer? Can you have, is it part of your goal that, I mean, one of the things consumers actually hate about the car industry is I have to negotiate. I mean, we don't want a high price, but on the other hand, it makes a lot of consumers very uncomfortable. Could they, in a sense, by clicking on your site, have you negotiate the best final price for a vehicle?
Well, with regards to pricing, how we made it easier is that you're able to see pricing and vehicle information side by side from multiple sites. So you can shop and compare in one view. With regards to the dealer auctions, the only way you can access those pricing is you have to have a dealer license.
So how are you going to get traffic there at 50 cents a user?
Traffic coming to our site will be done from multiple ways. With partnership through Microsoft, accessing their MSDN Channel 9 platform, their MSN portal, as well as our CarSquare search widget for sites that don't have the ability to showcase vehicle listings. We're going to be able to provide a widget on their site. When they click, they reroute it to our site. And several other ways that I can actually have Micah explain. Yeah, it should be.
Actually, it's not. Well, we've actually partnered with Microsoft pretty closely, not just on the technology side, which is a really big thing for them, because we're actually taking this to the Azure platform, which is their cloud services platform. And our first mobile app, we're actually building on the Microsoft mobile platform, which is going to give them a kind of 6-month go-to-market advantage on marketing this. Yeah, it's a huge audience. And what we also see is, by integrating with Bing, by integrating with the Microsoft advertising network, it's actually a huge growing market. The stats are, they're only 1 of 2 growth. But with that said, we're actually going to be not just leveraging our technology side, but on the marketing side, we're going through the Microsoft ad network, which we're going to get discounted rates from Microsoft to advertise through Bing. And we're also leveraging a pretty large go-to-market campaign that we're executing in March at South by Southwest. We see this as being a huge thing for blogger outreach, for digital PR, for using guerrilla tactics, and to kind of stay away from some of the higher priced marketing platforms that people traditionally use.
I would think the whole business case is you have to build a big audience, and that math is very special. That's kind of one of a kind in terms of low cost, frictionless, building that audience. So have you tested that? Do you?
We have tested it through some social media campaigns. And currently we have roughly about 4,000 people a month using our site. Without any paid marketing, we've done social media campaigns. And through those social media campaigns.
What's Kayak's monthly uniques right now?
Kayak's monthly uniques are roughly about 10 million.
Got a long way to go to get the $2 billion exit.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
4,000.
But at the same time, we really haven't taken this to the masses yet. Because we're actually in the process of rolling out a new interface, which will come out within the next week and a half. We just completely redesigned it to be completely lightweight. We've actually completely transformed the look and feel. We actually did a lot of research with female users because part of the car buying process, the female user group is a huge component of that. So the original design was, unfortunately, a lot of developer input and not a lot of design input. So we went back to the user experience and said, hey, how can we really improve this? And also, not just to be able to search side by side and do filtering based on price comparison, things of that nature, but also the integration of the Bing platform, which is a big thing for Microsoft, integrating those search results on the map and actually letting the consumer click on any of the results and then drill directly to that map, get to the end buyer.
And when you go to cars.com, I mean, you did our business development deals at AOL, I remember, and we invested in Kayak, so
Yes.
we know their math. So what's the deal that you cut with cars.com or Autobytel or?
There are a few different deals. For instance, with Swap a Lease, it's a hybrid. When you click, it's 50 cents per lead, 50 cents per click. Then when the consumer actually fills out the form, creates the lead gen, we actually get paid based on the sale price of the vehicle. It can range anywhere from $2 to $14 per lead.
You built all that back end?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
How about we give a round of applause to all of our challengers? Thank you. We're going to ask the judges to convene off stage and make your decision about who has the great idea amongst our challengers. And thank you very much for your great job. They are all winners. They're definitely all winners in our book. So how do we tap this? How do we do better than this? I'm already getting questions. When are you doing the next LaunchPad challenge? What's on the table next? When is this going to happen? Well, we've been thinking about that, and tonight we're very excited to share a preview with you of what lies ahead for the LaunchPad challenge.
This January, from the makers of the Ballston LaunchPad Challenge, comes another masterpiece. Directed by the Ballston Business Improvement District. Featuring Chef Mike Isabella. The search for the next signature restaurant has begun. Win a one-year lease of restaurant space in Ballston, and more to come. Premiering January 2014. The Restaurant Challenge.
We just can't get enough, can we? So following the success of this LaunchPad program, we're proud to announce this new challenge with a focus on restaurateurs. You probably don't know that Ballston has about 58 restaurants in a 5-block radius. So if you can't find something good to eat in Ballston, you're just not hungry. But we're seeking, we know there's more room. They feed off of each other, so to speak. But what we're really looking for with this challenge is the next signature restaurant. So this challenge is designed around restaurateurs who already have some experience in this area. So we'll be looking for established restaurateurs for this challenge. They will receive 1 year of free space in Ballston. So, I mean, what a great way to start up a new business. That is a huge, huge leg up. So this is very serious, as you can see. We also are very, very pleased to have soon-to-be Ballston-based chef Mike Isabella as our judge. You know Chef Isabella. He's the chef owner of Graffiato, Capnos, G, the sandwich shop, and he's a top contender on Bravo's Top Chef Masters, Top Chef All-Stars. He is just a force in this world. Isabella is bringing his first-class restaurant, Capnos, to Ballston early next year. We are absolutely thrilled to have him in our community, and we're absolutely thrilled to have him as part of this challenge. So we want to thank him for his participation in our next LaunchPad challenge. Thank you, Mike. Ms. Chef Isabella. We will be taking applications early next year. And you can stay in touch with what we're up to on the BID website, as well as follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And now it's my great pleasure to announce the winner of the LaunchPad Community Appreciation Award. Earlier in my remarks, I put up a slide that showed you all of the people that have been involved in this challenge, 100 plus that have been involved. We hosted an event about 3 weeks ago to bring everyone together and have them meet the challengers and learn about their business. We asked each of these people that attended to vote for who they thought had the great idea. And they selected Tomorrow's Lemonade Stand. I'd like to invite Kylie and Amanda, Kylie Majkowski and Amanda Antico Majkowski, the co-founders of Tomorrow's Lemonade Stand. I hope they're here tonight to come on up. This is especially exciting to see entrepreneurship in this generation. I mean, they've really just rewriting the rule book. There is no rules anymore. They're shaking off the corporate ladder. They're paving their own trails at a very, very young age. And as you can see, Kylie is our youngest. She was our youngest applicant and challenger. And so we are very, very proud to have her in the program. This young woman is a leader in this movement, creating new opportunities for other young entrepreneurs. She's part of this workforce revolution. So Kylie, thank you for being part of our challenge, and congratulations. Would you like to say a few words? Let's give you a mic. It's on.
Well, I did not expect this to happen, so I don't really have anything planned out. But all I know is that I am extremely happy how TLS has gotten this far. Out of the many people that entered into the Ballston bid, we made into the top 14, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I keep forgetting. And the whole advisory board and my mommy's friends and my little brother, my dad, all have been a big help, and I am gonna get him back for that. And
Kylie, you're going on to do great things. So thank you for being part of this. It's great. Amanda, do you want to say a few words? That's your.
To say that this has been an extraordinary experience would be an understatement. To watch your 7-year-old start a company when she is in 2nd grade because she is frustrated by what's happening in the school day, and grow it to what it currently is and what I am sure it will become has been an extraordinary experience. That is the big picture. I learned a long time ago to wear your big hat and your little hat wherever you go. My little hat is the Ballston family that we have adopted these past 6 months. Tina and her team have been extraordinary to all of us, and I thank all of them. So I'd like to thank them for a moment as they thank all of us. So please.
Thank you.
I have a 6-year-old who'd like to thank Tina. Please hold. Thank them.
Can I have a trophy too?
All he needs to do is shake Ted's hand, and we'll be fine for the rest of our lives. Secondly, the challengers and the collaborators in this program have led to a network, and I'm really excited about the restaurant thing, and I'm really mad that we can't apply because my best friend and I just had the best idea, but we're out. But basically, what happened in those 14 finalists was a network of people who will grow for a lifetime. We will grow and we will change the world and we will do what was expected of us We all had unique and different ideas, but yet somehow in Tuesday nights in a blazing hot old Chevy's Mexican restaurant, we established new visions and new path forwards. So that in itself is a miracle in a very small place called Ballston. And to the spirit of entrepreneurship, I believe in it. I believed in it since I was a child. I obviously instill it in my small children who are standing on my feet right now. And I believe it is the core of our country. So I promote it. I expect that it will change our lives. And I thank all of you for this award. And to my children, they inspire me every day.
Yeah, next time. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Kylie. And thank you so much for being part of this program. And at this time, I'd like to invite Jill Gabeau, the president of the Ballston Bid Board, to come up on stage. And we're ready to announce our winner, I believe. Sam, we're ready? Okay. Just wanted to point out the award. Isn't it beautiful? And we want to thank BB&T for sponsoring the award. And I believe we are ready for our judges to come on back out. Okay, good. That was good timing. Sure. Yeah, sure. It's on. It should be on.
I also, I'm proud to be president of the Ballston Bid Board. I think that we owe a big round of applause to Tina and her team who have worked endlessly for the last few months putting together this program. It's been fabulous. I think it really exemplifies what Ballston is, which is state of innovation. So could we have a round of applause for Tina and her team?
Okay, Mr. Leonsis. Oh.
Before Ted. We hear you, Jerry. Go, go, go. Good, Jerry, you're good. You're on, you're on.
You're on,
I think
Jerry.
it's on.
Am I on?
Yeah.
All right. In typical, Washington fashion, we thought about putting together a commission.
Yeah.
We thought about a study group. We cogitated, we thought, but Ted Leons has said, let's get on with it. And so he's got a special announcement about the finding of the 4 judges. Ted Leonsis.
All right, your mic is on. No, his mic is on.
First, that was really impressive, and it's almost unfair to everyone to have people pitch this real fast, and you can't really do a lot of due diligence. And really the big prize here is that you guys want to get your companies financed. And so I want to pay respect to all the work that you've done. So I think the best thing would be early in the new year, I promise I will meet with every one of the 4 finalists and have you come in and pitch us. I think you've earned that. So, that's a way to say thank you to the hard work that you guys have done, and there's really some big ideas here. So we're supposed to pick a winner, and we only had a couple of minutes to debate, and we have a tie. And so what we said was, well, why can't we do 2? And at first we were told, well, you can't. And we said, why not? So it's just money, and we'll have to get another prize. So we really thought right now that that there were 2 that we thought should be representative for this bid, and we had a tie between Build Data Analytics and. So come on up. And also the guys from Car Square should come up too. So the leads get $15,000 and a gift, and someone's being really generous with his legal advice and time, and you can't put a price tag on that. So we have 2 winners, and I'll meet with all 4 because I really like both the payment and obviously the the double bottom line, giving, and I think that's a big idea too. So congratulations, good for you.
Move over to this side.
What's that? Put the shirt down.
We'll get that after. Great. Thank you. All right.
Hi, darling.
Oh, thank you so much.
This is a lot of fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
No, I really did.
Here, you guys get your check. So thank you all so much for being with us here tonight. We have a reception, another reception for you to conclude the event and celebrate the winners. And be sure to join us for the next LaunchPad Challenge. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.